Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel. This is Living in Morris County. In today's video, I'm taking you through 4 unincorporated sections of Roxbury Township, starting with Succasunna, Ledgewood, Landing, and Kenville. They all have different looks and feels, so stay tuned to the end of this video to see which neighborhood you don't want to move to. Let's go! My name is Kevin Saum, and each week I bring you videos about moving to or around Morris County and the surrounding areas. So if that's why you came here today, make sure you give this video a like, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to this channel so you miss any of the content that I'm dropping each and every week. I'm also a licensed real estate agent in the state of New Jersey, and I have people like you move to and around Morris County and the surrounding areas every single day. So that number is popping up below. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and I cannot wait to help you do the same exact thing. So as I mentioned in the intro, there are 4 different unincorporated sections in Roxbury Township. Let's start off with the first 2 being Succasunna and Ledgewood. And the reason why I'm starting off with those is that even if you don't move to Roxbury and you move to the surrounding areas, like I live in Randolph, I grew up in Long Valley, Mount Olive also borders Roxbury Township, you're gonna be going to these 2 sections of Roxbury pretty frequently because of these shopping options that are available. So when I was living in Long Valley and growing up there was a Sports Authority in the Ledgewood Mall shopping complex I would go to all the time. And now being a Randolph resident, I'm frequently going to the Succasunna Mall, which is the Roxbury Mall, and that's because it has a Home Depot. So I'm there, almost every week going there. But there's a lot of convenient shops and restaurants in these 2 sections of town. They're literally right next to each other. So you're gonna be getting a good feel for these even if you don't end up moving to Roxbury. Let's start things off in the Succasunna section of Roxbury. Now this is in the southwestern portion of the town. It also borders the Flanders section of Mount Olive. So if you happen to be looking in Flanders, really like it. When you drive into the Succasunna section, it has a very similar look and feel. So I would venture to guess that you would also like this section of town as well. Now, I refer to Succasunna as having like all of the things. There's the most stuff going on in this Succasunna section. Starting with the Horseshoe Lake, which I've spent a lot of time at the last couple weeks kind of preparing for these videos that I'm making about Roxbury. And I brought my son there just to try the playground and just kind of scope out how things are going on. And it's incredible the amount of activity going on a weekday morning. I've got, some groups of people walking at just like little exercise groups, almost like 3, 4, sometimes 5 wide, walking on the walking paths. Tons of people walking their dogs. There's obviously a beach at Horseshoe Lake where you can get a membership to and enjoy the beach. There's also swim lanes there. There's plenty of ball fields. There's hiking trails. It's just amazing the amount of energy that you get just from being there. Roxbury High School is also in this section. The Roxbury Mall is also in this section where you've got the Home Depot, my favorite sporting goods store in the area, which is Ramsey Outdoor, Planet Fitness, Kohl's, and a bunch of other restaurants like Beanberry, the coffee shop, and Succasunna, which is one of my favorites. So there's just so much stuff going on in this area. Now, as far as the houses go in this section of town, you're looking at houses that are a little bit on the smaller side, built in the 1950s, 1960s, a lot of ranches, bi-level, split levels, and it's really a tight-knit neighborhood. And if you look at like the plots of land and how the neighborhoods are kind of laid out, it just looks very tight-knit. It looks almost like a doodle that I might have made in English class in high school because I was bored, but it was just very kind of flowing and seamless, but they are a little bit tighter together. It just looks a little bit more tight-knit, as I could say.
Do it like a tiger.
These houses range anywhere from about $350,000 to $750,000. I would say most of these smaller ranches, colonial split levels, are about 2,000 square feet or less, probably erring on that less side, but there is the occasional colonial that's about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, which you are gonna be paying that $750,000 range. If you are looking for that 3,000 to 4,000 square foot colonial, it's not that they don't exist in Roxbury, they're just very few and far between, and there's actually one particular neighborhood in this section of Roxbury that's called Hillside Manor, and I did take a quick look to see when the most recent sale of one of those houses were, and going back 3 years, there hasn't been a house sold in that neighborhood. So not a lot of turnover on those bigger houses, and there's not a lot of them. So if you are looking for those bigger colonials, I wouldn't hold your breath. Not that they don't exist, but you might just be waiting a while. So unless you have some patience and some flexibility and you can kind of wait on something, you might want to expand the search if you're in a little bit more of a rush. Just north of Succasunna is Ledgewood, and although I wouldn't say it has all the things, I would say it has a lot of things, including a huge Walmart, an Old Navy, a PC Richard & Son, a bunch of chain restaurants, and there's also a couple of townhome communities in this section of town as well. There is a variety of styles of homes in this section of town as well. We've got some smaller ranches that were built in the 1950s, 1960s, closer to Route 10 in those shopping centers, but the further west we go in Ledgewood, you do have some newer builds, which include some larger colonials that are about 3,000 square foot or more, and the homes are a little bit further spread out in this section, so if that is what you're looking for, a newer build, a little bit more space, this could be a section that you really want to hone in on. In my previous video, I did mention the Fenimore landfill in Roxbury, and that does happen to be in this Ledgewood section. As I mentioned, I'm not an environmentalist, I'm not an expert in this field, but there is some questions surrounding whether this landfill is potentially contaminating some private well water. But most of Roxbury, I would say the vast majority of homeowners in this town are on the public water, which isn't affected by this potential issue. That is where your real estate agent would come into play. So that number that's popping up below, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I can help you really make an informed decision in this process. Lastly, on the Ledgewood section is that you're also, depending on where you live in this section, you could be very close to the International Trade Zone shopping center in Mount Olive. So in terms of shopping convenience, it could be a very great option. I've lived in Morris County most of my life, and until recently, I had no idea about this next section of Roxbury, which is Landing. Now, Landing's unique because part of it sits right on Lake Hoboken, which I would consider to be the party lake in this section of New Jersey. So you can technically have a lakefront property in Landing, have a boat right on Lake Hoboken, so that's pretty cool in my opinion. Now, this is kind of a lake community type vibe. The terrain is very similar to a lot of other lake communities in this area, in that it's very hilly, kind of some narrow roads, houses are a little bit close together, sitting on about a quarter of an acre or less. Houses are a little bit smaller. We've got bungalows, ranches, split levels, bi-levels, kind of 2,000 square feet or less in this section. Price range is anywhere from about $350,000 to $1.4 million for that lakefront property. You're close to Route 80, so you got some convenient commuting options, and you're very close to one of my favorite restaurants, which is the Windlass. So it's a really cool lakefront restaurant. There's also a cool little mini golf course right near there as well. So for a beautiful day in North Jersey, it's a great option to enjoy. And if you're living in the Landing section, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. To round out today's video, we're going to finish in the eastern part of Roxbury in the Kendall section. And fun fact, the Kendall section is actually home to the second dynamite plant in all US history. And historically, there have been a couple of explosions in this section of town.
Wile E. Coyote.
Luckily, the Hercules powder plant has ceased operations in 1996. So there's really nothing to worry about anymore, but as early as 1989, there was an explosion that impacted the local residents within a 5-mile radius, and some of them actually had some shattered windows from that experience. I would say this section of town still does have kind of like an industrialist type feel to it. There is the County Concrete Corporation, which if you live in this area, you'll definitely see their trucks driving around, but their headquarters is in this section of town. There's also a cemetery here, and I've done an open house in this section, and the cemetery was literally in the backyard. So if you do get spooked out by cemeteries, definitely want to pay close attention to looking for homes in this section of town, which,
oh look, it's Casper!
Again, that's where a realtor like myself would be able to help you out. So check out that number below. In addition, homes in this section of town are on the smaller side, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, sometimes even older. Looking at mostly, smaller ranches, split levels, stuff like that. But anywhere from about 2,000 square feet or less. and they sit on about 1/4 of an acre, mostly narrow lot sizes, a little bit closer together. Not as heavily wooded as most of the other sections in Roxbury, and there are a couple of lakes scattered throughout as well. I hope you found this video to be helpful. To remind you, I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of New Jersey, and I love making these videos, but I love even more helping my clients close deals on their dream homes in Morris County and the surrounding areas. So that number's popping up below. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. I cannot wait to help you do the same exact thing. Till next time, guys, hope you enjoyed.